Have you ever felt like you're just running in a massive, exhausting loop? You know the feeling I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You tell yourself you're stuck in a rut because of something that happened in your past. Maybe a bad breakup, a rough childhood, or a career failure.
Or maybe you're just completely drained from trying to make everyone happy.
Exactly. Walking on eggshells, terrified that if you slip up, the world is going to turn on you.
It is a suffocating way to live. But honestly, it's arguably the most universal human experience.
So sure.
That sense that we are products of our history,
Mhm.
or that our value is determined by, I don't know, a scoreboard kept by other people.
It feels inevitable, though. Like,
Yeah.
this is just how human beings are wired. We're social animals. We have memories. Of course, we're affected by them.
Right.
But today, we are unpacking a book that looks at all that and just says, nope.
A hard nope.
It argues that you can change instantly and that the only thing stopping you is, well, you.
Yeah, it's the splash of cold water we probably all need.
We are diving deep into the massive international bestseller, The Courage to be Disliked by Ichiro Kashimi and Fumitaka Koga.
And before you roll your eyes.
Yeah, thinking this is another think positive self-help guide, let me stop you. This book is weird, in a good way.
It is.
It's written as a dialogue, like a play between a cynical youth and a philosopher.
It's a format that goes way back to the Greek classics, like Plato.
Yeah.
And it works because the youth is really aggressive.
Oh, he pushes back hard.
He's not just nodding along, he's trying to debunk the philosopher. He represents that skeptical voice in all of our heads that says, yeah, right, easier said than done.
Exactly. It feels like a boxing match. But the philosophy they're fighting over isn't Greek. It's based on the work of Alfred Adler.
The mysterious third giant.
Right. We always hear about Freud and Jung. They're the rock stars of Psychology 101.
Mm-hmm.
But Adler is this third pillar that just gets overlooked.
Which is a shame, because while Freud focused on the past and hidden subconscious drives, basically digging into the why of our trauma,
Right.
Adlerian psychology is often called a psychology of courage. It's less about what you were born with or what happened to you, your equipment, so to speak.
And entirely about how you choose to use it.
Exactly.
And that is our mission for this deep dive. We are going to walk through this dialogue and challenge your worldview on trauma, happiness, and freedom.
And we should probably warn you.
I have to warn you, looking at the notes, some of this is going to sound absolutely wild. Like, throw your phone across the room. Wild.
It is provocative, but if you can stick with it and really wrap your head around the shift they're proposing, it is incredibly liberating.
All right, let's jump straight into the deep end. We have to start with the claim that makes the youth in the book almost lose his mind.
A big one.
The philosopher looks him in the eye and says, trauma does not exist.
It's a sentence that usually makes people stop the conversation right there.
It sounds incredibly callous if someone was abused as a child or went through a war or lost a loved one. Saying trauma doesn't exist sounds like gaslighting.
Like you're denying their reality.
Exactly.
We have to be very precise here. Adler is not saying the painful event didn't happen. He's not saying the suffering isn't real.
Okay.
He is challenging the mechanism of how that past event dictates your present. He's attacking what he calls etiology.
Etiology, let's unpack that. That's the study of causation, right?
Exactly. It's the traditional Freudian view. A caused B because I was bullied. A.
I am now socially anxious and can't leave my house. B.
Right. The past determines the present. It's a very mechanical cause and effect way of seeing humans.
Which feels logical. I mean, that's how physics works. You push a ball, it rolls.
Totally. So why does Adler reject it for humans?
Well, because if the past strictly determines the present, we are just machines. We have no agency.
Can't change.
Right. If A always leads to B, then we can't change because we can't go back and change A.
So Adler replaces etiology with teleology.
Teleology. Break that down for us.
It comes from the Greek telos, meaning end or purpose. Teleology argues that we aren't pushed by the past. We are pulled by our goals in the present.
So we don't act because of a cause. We act to achieve an outcome.
Exactly.
I think we need a concrete example because this is a huge mental shift. The book uses the story of the shut-in.
Right. The youth talks about his friend who refuses to leave his room. He gets palpitations, creates a massive scene.
Feels intense anxiety if he even tries to step outside.
Yeah. And the youth argues this is clearly trauma. Maybe he was bullied, maybe he had harsh parents. The past caused the anxiety.
And the philosopher disagrees.
She flips it entirely. He suggests the friend has a goal first.
A goal.
Yeah. The goal might be, I don't want to go out and face the world, or I want my parents to worry about me and take care of me forever.
So because his goal is don't go out, he
What?
just decides to be anxious?
In a way, yes. To achieve the goal of staying safe inside, he manufactures the state of fear and anxiety.
So the anxiety is a tool.
It's a tool he creates to justify his goal. He needs a reason to stay inside, so his mind produces the anxiety to give him that reason.
That is a tough pill to swallow. It sounds like victim blaming. Oh, you're just creating your own panic attacks.
It feels harsh because it removes the excuse.
Meh.
But look at the flip side. If the anxiety is caused solely by the past, he is doomed.
He can never get better because the past is fixed.
Exactly. But if the anxiety is a tool he is creating to serve a purpose, keeping him safe,
Yep.
then he has the power to choose a different purpose.
So if he changes the goal to, I want to have a job or I want to fall in love, the need for the anxiety tool just disappears.
So that's the idea. We choose our emotions to suit our goals. There's a lighter example in the book that really clarifies this mechanism.
The coffee spill.
The coffee spill.
Oh, I related to this one. The youth talks about a time a waiter spilled coffee on his new suit. He says he lost his temper and yelled.
And he claims it was uncontrollable.
Yeah, an instantaneous reaction. The coffee made me yell.
Right, that's etiology. The coffee made me do it. But the philosopher points out that anger is also a tool.
How is anger a tool? It feels like an explosion. I don't use anger. Anger uses me.
Well, think about the goal in that moment. The youth wanted the waiter to submit, to apologize profusely, maybe to cover the cleaning bill quickly.
Right.
Being reasonable takes time. Anger is the fastest way to intimidate someone into listening. He didn't yell because he couldn't help it.
Yeah.
He yelled because it was the most effective way to get what he wanted.
The proof is the phone call scenario, right?
Yeah.
I think everyone has seen this.
Oh, yeah.
You have a mother screaming at her child face red, totally losing it.
And then the phone rings.
Right. She picks it up, realizes it's the school principal or her boss, and her voice instantly transforms. Oh, hello. Yes, perfectly fine.
Total switch.
She has a polite conversation, hangs up, and then click, goes right back to screaming at the kid.
Exactly. If anger were an uncontrollable, biological eruption like vomiting or a sneeze, she couldn't switch it off like a light bulb.
She chose to use it.
She chose to use anger to control her child, put it away to handle the social status of the caller, and brought it back out when she needed it again.
That's teleology. She was using the emotion to achieve a goal.
And this applies to our lifestyles, too. Adler argues that if we are unhappy, it's not because of our environment. It's because at some level, we have chosen not to be happy.
Why would anyone choose to be unhappy? That makes no sense.
Because it's safe. If you stay in your unhappy comfort zone, let's say the person who thinks they're too awkward to date, you can predict the outcome.
You don't get hurt.
You don't fail. You don't have to face rejection. Changing your lifestyle requires courage because the outcome is unknown.
So we'd rather be miserable and certain than happy and uncertain.
Precisely. And that's why the book is called The Courage to be Disliked, not the ability to be disliked. It's about the bravery to step out of the loop.
Okay, so we're creating our own emotions to suit our goals. That covers our internal world. But most of our stress doesn't come from a vacuum.
Nope.
It comes from dealing with other humans.
Which brings us to Adler's next massive claim, and this one is sweeping. All problems are interpersonal relationship problems.
All of them. That seems extreme. What about worry over a health issue or just feeling not good enough? Or poverty?
Adler says if you were the only person in the universe, all your problems would vanish.
Even the internal ones?
Even the internal ones.
Let's look at the feeling not good enough part. The book discusses inferiority.
The philosopher shares a personal story here. He is short, about 155 centimeters.
Right.
For a long time, he agonized over it. He wished he could just wake up taller. He felt inferior.
Which feels like an objective fact. He is short.
The number 155 is objective. But the feeling of inferiority is subjective. It only exists because he is comparing himself to taller people. If he were the only human on Earth, short would mean anything. You can't be short if there's no one tall.
It's all comparative. But eventually, he flipped his perspective, right?
A friend told him, being small puts people at ease. It makes you approachable.
Wow.
And he realized his height wasn't the problem. His interpersonal interpretation of it was.
This leads to a distinction the book makes between a pursuit of superiority and an inferiority complex.
Yeah, and they sound similar, but they're totally different engines driving us.
So a healthy pursuit of superiority is what?
It's just trying to be better than your past self. It's like walking forward on a flat plane. You aren't racing anyone, you're just taking the next step.
But the inferiority complex is when you use your flaws as an excuse.
Yes. I can't succeed because I'm not educated. I can't get married because I'm not pretty.
It becomes a reason to stop trying.
It's a form of giving up.
And then there's the weird twist, the people who do the opposite. The ones who are constantly bragging, flashing expensive watches, talking about who they know.
Adler calls that a superiority complex.
Ah.
And it's actually just a mask for deep inferiority.
Really?
I mean, if you were truly confident, you wouldn't need to broadcast it.
Yeah.
A person who wears a diamond ring on every finger is usually terrified of being seen as small. They are wearing armor.
So both the person hiding in the room and the person shouting about their success on Instagram are trapped in the same game.
Exactly.
They're both obsessed with how they stack up against others.
Exactly. They view life as a competition. And if life is a competition, then everyone else is a rival. You can't relax.
You can't trust anyone.
Because if they win, you lose.
Adler's solution is that we need to stop trying to win. We are different but equal. We need to see others not as enemies, but as comrades.
Different but equal. It's a beautiful concept.
It is, but let's be real. Stopping the comparison game is incredibly hard. We're wired to care what people think.
Totally.
We crave recognition. We want our parents to be proud, our boss to like us.
The desire for recognition. Adler identifies this as the root of our slavery. We live our lives trying to satisfy other people's expectations.
And the book offers a tool to break this. It's called separation of tasks.
This is probably the most practical, hands-on tool in the entire philosophy.
So how does it work?
To solve relationship stress, you look at a problem and ask one question. Who ultimately bears the consequences of this decision?
Let's apply this. The classic example in the book is the child who won't study.
Right. Parents usually think it's their job to make the child study. They nag, they bribe, they hover.
They think, I'm a bad parent if he doesn't pass math.
But Adler says they are intruding.
Yes. Ask the question. If the child doesn't study, who bears the consequence? Who fails the test? Who misses out on the knowledge?
Ultimately, the child.
So studying is the child's task.
When a parent forces it, they are trespassing. That intrusion is what causes all the conflict and rebellion.
But hold on, if I just say, that's your task and let my kid fail, isn't that neglect? That feels like bad parenting.
Adler is very specific here. Separation of tasks is not abandonment. You don't ignore the child.
So what do?
You tell them, I am ready to help you whenever you want to study. I'm right here. But you don't do it for them, and you don't force them.
It's the proverb. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink.
And if you shove the horse's head into the water, the horse won't drink. It will just hate the water and hate you.
This gets really tricky when we apply it to adults, specifically what people think of us.
This is the game changer. If someone dislikes you, whose task is that?
Well, based on this logic, it's their task.
Bingo. It is their judgment to make. It's happening in their brain. You cannot control their brain.
So when you twist yourself into knots trying to make them like you, you are intruding on their task.
You are trying to manage something that isn't yours to manage.
That is the Gordian knot concept the book mentions. Sometimes the knot of approval seeking is too tangled to untie.
You just have to cut it.
You have to accept that you cannot satisfy everyone.
In fact, trying to be liked by everyone is a lie. It forces you to be a chameleon, saying different things to different people just to please them.
Which brings us to the title of the book, The Ultimate Definition of Freedom.
Yes. The youth asks, what is true freedom? And the answer isn't money or power or lack of responsibility.
It's being disliked by other people.
Freedom is being disliked by other people.
That sounds so counterintuitive. We are social animals. We want to belong. Why is being disliked a good thing?
It's not that you want to be disliked. You shouldn't go out and be a jerk on purpose.
Right.
But being disliked is the proof that you are living freely.
How so?
Because if you are living your life in a way that no one dislikes you, it means you are living entirely according to other people's expectations.
You're suppressing your own voice to fit their mold.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But if you live by your own principles, someone, somewhere, is going to disagree. And when they do, you accept it. You say, that is your task, not mine.
That is incredibly liberating. It's the cost of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
There's a powerful story the philosopher tells about his father to illustrate how this shifts relationships. They had a terrible relationship, right?
He did. His father hit him when he was young. For years, the philosopher held on to that grudge.
His narrative was, I have a bad relationship with my father because he hit me.
That's the cause and effect view. He was holding the victim card.
But once he understood Adler, he realized he was using that memory.
Yes.
His hidden goal was, I don't want a relationship with my father because it's too much work or too scary.
So he pulled out the memory of the beating as a justification to keep his distance.
He was using the trauma to serve his goal of isolation.
Yes. And once he admitted that, he could change the goal. He decided, I want to repair this relationship.
So he just changed his own behavior.
He stopped using the memory as a weapon. He changed his behavior without waiting for his father to apologize.
That's the hard part. We usually wait for the other person to change first. I'll be nice if he apologizes.
That's a transaction. That's trying to manipulate their task. Adlerian psychology is about autonomy. You change your steps in the dance.
And it doesn't guarantee the father will change.
No, but it's the only way to break the deadlock.
But this leads to a fear I think a lot of listeners might have. If I separate tasks, if I stop caring what people think, if I cut these knots, don't I end up isolated?
The selfish person just doing their own thing.
Yeah.
That's the common criticism, is this just hyper-individualism. But Adler says the separation of tasks is just the gateway.
The destination is community feeling. This part gets a little cosmic in the book, talking about the universe and plants, but let's ground it. It seems to be about shifting from self-interest to social interest.
Paradoxically, people who obsess over what do others think of me are actually extremely self-centered.
How so? They seem like they care about others.
No, they care about their image in others' eyes.
Oh.
They are constantly looking in the mirror. They think they're the main character of the movie,
Yeah.
and everyone else is just an extra or an audience member.
Ouch. So the people pleaser is actually the most self-absorbed person in the room.
Often, yes. Adler wants us to switch the camera angle. You are not the center of the world. You are a part of a community.
And to feel happy, you need three things. First, self-acceptance.
And note that he doesn't say self-esteem.
Right.
Self-esteem often implies, I am great, I can do anything. Self-acceptance is honest. It's saying, okay, I got 60% on this test. I'm not a genius right now, but I can try to get to 70%.
So accepting the things you cannot change and having the courage to change the things you can.
Free.
What's the second pillar?
Confidence in others. But the translation is closer to unconditional trust.
Unconditional, even if they might betray you.
This goes back to tasks. If they betray you, that is their task. Your task is to trust.
Because if you walk around suspicious of everyone,
Putting up walls to protect yourself, you can never build a deep relationship. You can't be happy in a fortress.
and the third pillar.
Contribution to others. This is Adler's definition of happiness. Happiness is the contribution feeling.
Does that mean I have to go volunteer at a soup kitchen every day to be happy?
Not necessarily. It's about the subjective sense that I am of use to someone. And here is the key.
What's that?
It doesn't require the other person to say thank you.
If you need the thank you, you're back to seeking recognition.
Exactly. You contribute because you know your worth. The book makes a beautiful distinction between action value and existence value.
This really resonated with me. We usually judge our worth by action. What did I achieve today? How much money did I make?
But what happens if you get sick? If you are in a coma, do you have zero value?
The book uses the example of a mother in critical condition. She isn't doing anything. She can't work or cook.
Right.
But to her family, just the fact that she is breathing, that she is still there, has immense value.
That is existence value.
Right.
We need to recognize that we have value just by being here as part of the community.
We don't have to earn our right to take up space.
It removes the pressure to perform. You contribute because you want to, not because you have to prove you deserve to exist.
It changes the whole texture of life.
You stop climbing and start living.
Before we wrap up, I want to touch on how this philosophy views time. Because if we aren't driven by the past and we shouldn't be obsessing over future outcomes, where are we?
We are in the now. The final paradigm shift is seeing life not as a line, a journey from birth to a peak of success and then death, but as a series of dots.
A series of moments.
He uses the analogy of a dance. When you dance, you aren't trying to arrive at a specific spot on the floor.
You don't dance to get to the end of the song.
Right. The goal of dancing is the dancing itself. You're spinning, you're moving.
I love that image. If you live life like you're climbing a mountain, aiming for the summit, then most of your life is just en route.
You're not really living.
You're just waiting to arrive. And if you die before the summit, your life is a failure.
But if you live like a dance, treating each moment as complete in itself, then you are always living fully. Adler calls this the kinetic life.
It removes the anxiety of, what if I don't make it?
Right.
Because you are already making it right here.
Precisely. The philosopher concludes by saying, The world is simple and life is simple. It is you who makes it complex.
It's us complicating it with our what-ifs and if-onlys.
Exactly.
So here is the challenge for you listening. This is your homework, if you choose to accept it.
Okay.
If you woke up tomorrow and truly decided to abandon the desire for recognition, if you cut that Gordian knot, how would your tasks change? What would you stop doing?
What would you start doing? It's a scary thought.
Yeah.
But remember, the courage to be happy also includes the courage to be disliked.
Go dance your dance. Thanks for diving deep with us.
See you next time.